Who's playing?
New England and Atlanta.
New England and who?
Atlanta Falcons.
Really? I think one of them will win.
Will you be
Yeah.
watching?
No. Unless my wife says we're going to a Super Bowl party or something like that. Someone asked me the other day if I was a sports fan. Do I follow all sports and everything? And my answer was very simple. I follow the ACC. I follow college basketball. I follow the NBA. And when you spend as much time as I do in following those specific things, I do not have time to follow other sports. Maybe one day I will, but right now, I spent yesterday watching Villanova and Virginia, Louisville and NC State, Virginia Tech and Boston College. I mean, and then I'm watching Florida State in their last 3 or 4 games. So I don't really have a lot of time to be devoted to watching other sports.
Plus, at some point, you probably want to stay married.
Yeah.
Bruce Brown, in his last 5 games, 29 for 49, 87 points. Those are Sheldon McClellan type numbers. Do you see him as that kind of player?
Well, when we recruited Bruce, his AAU coach, Leo Papil, who's been a lifelong friend of mine, I said to him, how do we recruit this guy? I just love the way he plays. He's just so competitive. And we went through that process knowing that he was going to be ranked very, very high. He was going to have a lot of teams nationally who were interested in him, and we were going to have to beat some really good programs. But once Bruce showed interest in us, he became such a high priority. And I think it was because we knew we were losing Sheldon McClellan and we needed someone with that kind of physical capability. I really didn't know what kind of personality he would bring to the table because he didn't communicate through text and phone calls. So he had a more difficult time developing a deep relationship with him. Some kids you can talk to all the time. They answer their phone. They'll text back and forth with you. But in Bruce's case, he never looked for the attention. He never really wanted a lot of distraction. He wanted to just stay focused on his prep school year, and he did. Once he got here, day one, you could see it. His personality came out. He and DJ Vasilovich became best buddies. They're over in the gym shooting at 10 o'clock at night. He's interacting with all the upperclassmen. Everybody's raving about him. I get a chance to spend some time and hang out with him. Now it's not recruiting anymore. There's a different relationship when a kid is being recruited and how he relaxes around you once he's part of your program. And I said it, I'll say it over and over again, he's lovable. You'll just love being around the guy. He smiles all the time. He's very friendly. He enjoys the competition. He enjoys being with his teammates. He enjoys watching film with the coaches. He asks questions. He wants to improve. He's a very special individual.
How do you approach the situation when there's the possibility that you have a player that might leave early? Have you even started talking about that?
Well, I've told the players that you really have to do things in chronological order. Right now, you should be responsible for being the best college basketball player you can be. Once the season is over, then the next stage in your life occurs. And that stage is decide whether you're coming back for another year of college or you want to turn pro. And if you want to turn pro, then you have to do a lot of things to research. Would you be drafted? If you were drafted, when would you be drafted? I asked Shane Larkin these questions if you're going to be drafted in the second round, do you still want to go? And he said, no. He said, if I'm only going to be a second-round pick, I want to come back. But if I'm going to be a first-round pick, maybe even in the top 20, not in the lottery, but shortly after the lottery, then I feel like it's a good time to go. And so he had to do his research. His dad did research. My staff and I did research. And we came up with the information that he would go anywhere from 15 to 35. So 35 is in the second round. We looked even deeper at it to figure out how many point guards would go before him. And we saw, in all likelihood, Michael Carter-Williams would go before him, Trey Burke would go before him, Dennis Schroeder, who now is with the Atlanta Hawks, would go before him. But he'd be like that next guy, maybe the fourth or fifth point guard chosen. If you look at the first round and you say, okay, there's going to be 6 of everything being drafted in the first round, 6 goes into 30, you have to be in top 5. So he was right there. It was a good time for him to go. We feel like that it's our responsibility as a coaching staff to provide our players with as accurate a compilation of information as we can bring to them. And then it's up to that individual and his family to decide, is this a good time to go or not?
What differences do you see with Florida State this year?
I think this is the best Florida State team we've seen in my 6 years because they are so long, so athletic. They play unbelievable pressure defense. They have a lot of size. They're very deep. They play 12 guys. They have a 12-man rotation. And I think they've proven a lot already this season. They were ranked 6th in the country last week. I don't know where they'll be ranked this week, but they're certainly a team that's competing for the ACC regular season championship.
It brings up how quickly things can turn with that college basketball. You're talking about last week, Florida State sitting 6th in the country, top of the ACC. You're kind of coming off a couple of big losses. Now all of a sudden, you're running kind of a high, and they've hit a dip. That's just the way life is today.
Well, I think the league is so talented from top to bottom that you could win any night or lose any night. And you have to play very, very well the night you're playing. It doesn't matter who you're playing against.
Or apparently anywhere.
No, or anywhere. Here's an extreme case. Florida State won at Virginia. Virginia lost at Pitt. Pitt lost to Louisville by 55 points. Virginia, who lost at Pitt, beat Louisville at Louisville. You can't explain that.
Was Rodney Miller available on Saturday?
No, he was sick. He had some kind of abscess in his neck. And so he just, he was out all last week. I think I mentioned that we've had a bunch of sick guys. I thought it was like the flu, but it turned out our medical team said it was an abscess. So I think he's doing much better. He told me he felt much better on Saturday. I'm hoping he practices today.
Coach, we saw a lot of the 2-3 zone in the last game. Is that something that might come into Florida State and later down the season as well?
You know, my coaching staff and I discussed it this morning. We'll talk about it with the players, how they feel. We have to do whatever gives us the best chance to defend. And the other day against North Carolina, our man-to-man defense has been our bread and butter since we arrived here. So our bread and butter defense is our man-to-man, but we do have a 2-3 zone. We went to it early in the game when we fell behind to see if we could slow them down. It did. It worked. We won. So now we got to look at Florida State. It's a new opponent, different personnel. I'm sure the input our players will provide us will give us a chance to have good game preparation.
I know you talked about just the environment and how much huge help. How do you begin to, I mean, these guys have already played in a few big games, but this is a rivalry game. This one's different. How do you make sure, again, the young guys ride the wave of promotion?
Yeah, it's very challenging. It's very important our students turn out. As I've said a million times before, this is their team. You know, they attend as a student the University of Miami. University of Miami has chosen to be in the toughest basketball conference in America, the ACC, and the teams in this league have tremendous student support. So it's really like a competition. You know, students come and cheer for Duke, for Carolina, for Florida State. We're asking the students come and cheer for your Miami Hurricanes. This is your team. And I expect Wednesday night they will.